We've got a fun one today. We're looking at the San Martin. This is the new Pan-American cruiser at tier 10. I'm probably mispronouncing that. I do apologize. But this cruiser is very fun. I've had a lot of really enjoyable games in it so far, and it's only been out for a day. The AP is pretty good, unless you're shooting at a broadside DD. That's like the main downside here, is this armor piercing and radar combo isn't nearly as powerful as something like a Worcester, for example. This is not another Worcester level radar, although the full pens can do some serious damage. No, the special thing about this ship is that it doesn't die. If you don't one-shot a San Martin, it's going to live. It's just ridiculous. It's got this insane zombie heal, and the combat instructions allow us to get that heal back over and over and over and over again. It's ridiculous. And a lot of fun to use. I gotta say, this is quickly becoming one of my favorite tier 10 cruisers to play, just for that tankiness and ability to push areas of the map that no light cruiser really should be trying to push. That's kind of the idea here. With our concealment and pretty good guns, we're trying to get into interesting positions like this, where we're gonna push C, pushing into a crossfire between a Vermont, another San Martin, and a GK at a Montana as well. This is not something I would be very interested in doing in almost any cruiser, I gotta be honest with you. This is a very suicidal play. And yet, they're not expecting it, so maybe it's gonna be good. This San Martin here, guns facing the wrong way, and with our improved pen angles here, if we aim low enough, we should be getting some citadels. That's the other thing here, is the pen is actually pretty good on these 150mm guns. We don't have the 203s like a Des Moines, but that AP slaps really, really hard. Broadside to a Vermont salvo, and yeah, we take some damage, sure, but here comes the super heal. And with this super heal, not only do we heal back a lot of HP, well, it heals back tons of citadel damages too. So sitting broadside like this, and say we take a few citadels, we did there, we're still gonna heal back a ton. Look at that, another citadel. And yet this heal is still gonna bring us back around 40,000 HP when we get to our next one. And oh, look at that. The combat instructions allow us to get to our next heal in another 17 seconds from now. Yeah, this is a ship we can abuse. We can abuse this ability to play really aggressive and hopefully win some flanks for our team, because the HE power of the Worcester or another radar cruiser is going to help those ships to win flanks a lot more than this San Martin. You can't just play it like a Worcester and expect it to do as well. It has to play differently, and in my opinion, more aggressively. And I find that very interesting. And just look at that. Another heal, and we're living. I don't know if we should have lived that, but we did. And even though our heal's out, it's still going to heal us back up some more the next one. It's crazy. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. With this heal, though, or the combat instructions, we do need to be continuously shooting at an enemy ship. So if we're in a brawl, this is where the ship could be very, very strong. That first game there, that's really all the action we had. I have actually 3 games to show you today. This is the second one. Had some really fun clips. And again, the overpens into destroyers makes it a little tough to deal with them. We do fortunately have some nice ASW planes, so that helps us against the submarines. And we took a huge hit there. I think that might have been the Ohio, getting us on a, I don't know where, some weird citadel angle, but we'll still heal it back like it doesn't even matter. We managed to take out the submarine, and with that angle, we're actually able to get full pens. Once we're getting full pens, the AP damage is really nice. Getting ourselves a nice double strike here, using our torpedoes, although I assume the Alsace would turn in, so I might miss these. The AP does seriously good damage. As much as I would love to have HE, this AP is more than good enough against cruisers and battleships. Really against the DDs that it's a little bit challenging. And we just used our heal, and we're about to charge our combat instructions again. Push the F key, there it is. It's coming back rather quickly. That's the power here. The power of kiting an enemy flank, pushing it, the enemy team's pushing in, and they just can't kill us. If we manage to not go broadside to battleships and eat a depth strike, we're gonna take full pens, but we really don't care about full pens with this heal and combat instructions combination here. Crazy. Look at us, healing back up, over 30k HP now. The Alsace is about to go down, and then we just have an Awami to deal with on this flank. 3 very, very quick kills that are a little late in this match. I realized I need to play a little more aggressive early on. It's going to be a key to the San Martin is, sure, you're good in the late game and this whole brawling aspect when people push in and overcommit, but how do you get battle impact earlier on in matches? That's going to be the challenge with this ship. But again, farming up our buff. Nearly have it, and then we're going to push the F key again and just have our heal back again. So 5 super heals is a lot of HP, and that's really the challenge with the San Martin when you're playing against it, is figuring out how to kill it. If you get it low enough and it doesn't have its combat instructions or its heal, that could be the way. But a good player is going to make sure they have one or the other available to them. Again, we can just sit in front of these battleships, even with their overmatch. We don't have good armor here. It's 25 millimeters on the sides, bow, and stern, and then a 30 millimeter deck armor. Not amazing. But as long as we're not taking Dev Strike level salvos, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. And again, the Awami is just going to sit there. We'll try and charge up our buff again, but our heal is available. If we take more damage, we'll get it all back anyway. It's really, really weird. It's a very different cruiser playstyle. It feels a lot like heavy cruisers that have armor to bounce battleship shells, except here we're just okay with taking the damage because we're just going to heal it all back. It's very weird. Very, very weird. Unfortunately, in this one, it looks like not quite enough to win the game here, but we, as a team, managed to bring it back here in the late game. And here I'm going to show you how the AP actually has pretty good pen. I wasn't expecting to Citadel of Moskva here, I'll be honest with you. Maybe I should have been, but I tend to view some of these battle cruisers or Moskva, Stalingrad, they have enough plating on their belts that light cruisers tend to not be able to Citadel at close range, but maybe that's just a false assumption by me or something like that. So we do end up losing that one, but that's all right. We'll move on to our third game here, where we're going to get an insane amount of potential damage. I think this one will really show the absurdity of this heal on this ship. To start off with, though, we're going to play a little bit solo. I want to be pushing flanks. I want to be engaging the enemy team, trying, again, to get that early battle impact. Games are over pretty quick, and we can't afford to wait for the game to essentially end in a blowout, either victory or loss for our team. We want to be doing some damage early on. So I'm not going to sit behind islands as much. I'm going to try and go to the flanks if I spawn on one and take some fights. Puerto Rico is a pretty scary target for a light cruiser. The improved pen angles on that armor piercing and generally okay reload. It's not amazing, but 20 seconds is certainly harder to deal with as a cruiser than a 30-second battleship, for example. Less time to maneuver in between salvos. Puerto Rico also has a decent amount of armor, so it's going to take us a while to chip him down. You're going to just see me constantly trying to angle. As long as I'm not taking citadels of huge damage, I'm okay with full pens. It's weird. It's very weird to play a light cruiser like this. It's not something I'm very used to. I want to avoid all the damage, especially early on. If I'm playing a Worcester or another light cruiser with a radar, it's very important to keep your HP to the late game because these cruisers are so strong in the late game. Their ability to go after DDs, play open water, contest caps, they're very versatile, but squishy. So the less enemy ships there are, the easier it is for these light cruisers to make use of that versatility. Unfortunately, our team is dying rather quickly here, so we need to make a move. And we're going to go bow in with this Petro. Again, we're looking at some of the issues with only armor piercing. It is nice, improved pen angles and all that, but HE would be better here. There are certainly situations where HE is just so nice, not only for the fire damage, but the universal ability to not care about angling. You just need to hit parts of the ship that you know the HE can pen, which is quite a lot on the Puerto Rico, to be honest with you. Although we are getting some decent hits at this angle, we'll use our first heal. Again, there's just not a lot of risk here against the Puerto Rico as long as we stay angled. The closer we get to some battleships, it might be a little scarier. If they're able to overmatch our bow into our citadel, that could be a little worrisome. But against the Puerto Rico at these closer ranges, yeah, I'm feeling okay. Already up to 75k damage, and we've done a decent job here of dealing with this northern flank, but we're alone. And that should be fine against almost everything on the enemy team. Unfortunately, we're not really good against everything, and that includes the carrier. And I was thinking the AA should be good on this ship because it kind of looks like a Worcester, right? Worcester AA is pretty scary for a carrier to come after. And then, well, I guess we'll see throughout the course of this game how many planes we actually end up shooting down. AP bombs from Malta are pretty terrifying. Definitely can dev strike us. We have to, well, try and get the angle as terrible as possible. Make him drop our broadside, and we still take some damage, unfortunately. But at least not a dev strike. The idea behind Worcester having good AA is not really that it's going to avoid that first salvo, but it's that it really never allows a carrier to have multiple drops on you. That's the scary part about carriers, is if you're alone and you don't have good enough AA, those multiple drops are going to kill you very quickly. And I was thinking San Martin would be good enough, and apparently it's not. So I might have to look at the consumables. Maybe we can swap out the Hydro for a defensive fire. Not sure I'd want to even do that anyway, but if I'm going to play alone like this and have AP bombs and carriers come after me, that's pretty terrifying. And I don't really want to be dealing with that. But hey, we still have lots of HP, and we need to push back into this game. Close match, as we can see. It's, well, 9 minutes into this match. A lot of people have died already. Very aggressive match, this one. So we need to keep that aggression up and try and collect some of these cap zones. Try and get the points ticking in our favor. Harlem would be a sweet ship to get a kill on here. That would allow us to play very aggressive here on this flank. Maybe catch some broadsides and that kind of thing. Maybe take out the Bismarck a little later on as well. Unfortunately, though, we're not quite able to do enough damage while he's broadside. And we have to aim for superstructures. If you're playing this ship, the San Martin, or any along the line, if people are angled to you, you can still do damage into superstructures, although it's certainly nowhere near what you're doing to broadsides, but at least you're going to still get some damage into it. Here I'm trying to get around the corner to finish off this Bismarck if my team isn't able to. Fortunately, they are. And we're going to respect the Tier 9, the Santander. Not sure about that pronunciation again, but don't want to be fighting two of these cruisers at once, so we're going to try and keep that Tier 9 cruiser in between the islands and us and focus on the Harlem. Fortunately, he's shooting HE, so we can afford to go broadside. And this is the scary thing, is the Malta's going to force us to angle, well, show broadside to his drop. Well, that's how we have to play it. There's no other way to do it. So we have to just hope the Harlem is going to use HE. Fortunately, he is doing that this time, but that is the pain point of the carriers, of course. They're going to destroy you on an island. You can't play on an island, and then if you're in open water like this, well, you don't really want to be close enough that enemy surface ships can get good damage into as well, resulting in pretty passive campy games. But this video is not about carriers. We all know how bad they are for the game, so let's focus on this ship some more. Again, healing, healing, healing. Late game here, 4v3. The enemy team definitely has the advantage. We do need to push in, and I make a little bit of a mistake here. You do need to consider concealment. You don't want to always be shooting your guns as much as I have been in this video, and it's been working out pretty well. We do need to go dark here. The Schlieffen is coming around this island. We have torps for him, but I don't want to be giving broadside to the Tier 9. We all know how strong those guns can be based on how we dev struck the enemy San Martin in our first game this video. And a Schlieffen on our broadside at 8 kilometers, well, we might get lucky, but unlikely. So we're going to try and turn away here. I certainly shouldn't have shot that one salvo after torping the guy. I should have launched my torps, then gone dark as quickly as I possibly could. But here, we're going to kite away and hopefully be able to kill the Schlieffen. We got the Venice hopefully helping us. Midway, maybe. This should be a pretty easy kill on the Schlieffen if the Midway and Venice are able to do some good damage into his broadside. And we're taking a little too much damage from those secondaries. So again, heal, 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 heal. That's what it comes down to. A little bit insane. And the AP is actually doing some pretty decent damage out to these longer ranges in battleship superstructures. So you do want to angle to this ship if you're a battleship at longer ranges. Superstructures are just that squishy. And unfortunately, he's going to start to angle now. But the enemy cruiser is broadside. I was still trying to farm the Schlieffen or hit the Schlieffen because it's very important we eliminate ships in the late game, even though this Allende is so juicy. I want to be finishing ships off. That's the priority here. Double Citadel to start with, and more to come. We actually almost kill him there outright in 2 salvos, which is a little ridiculous. I haven't mentioned it yet, but throughout this video, you probably have noticed the front and rear turrets are actually 360-degree turrets, making it a lot easier to keep them online and firing. Only 10 guns compared to a Worcester with 12 guns results in a little bit less damage output. It's not a full Worcester clone with just AP, but the reload is pretty decent here, and the AP actually, I found to do really good damage. I'm not actually lacking damage. I don't feel like that, at least. Only against DDs, and at that, I'm kind of okay with it, because a ship that's this stealthy and tanky with radar yet, it's difficult for DDs to deal with that anyway, even if it isn't quite a stealth radar. So, 2 cruisers left to deal with. The Schlieffen did manage to get away. Again, we gotta angle to these dive bombers, and fortunately only take 1. Pretty scary though. And I'm not sure why this guy went broadside here. Maybe he was expecting me to go bow into the island or something, but hey, I'll take it, man. I'll take anything I can get at this point, although we're not hitting citadels, and that's a bit of an issue here. We need all the health we can get at the end game here. Finally take him out, but we do take a little bit more damage than I would have liked to in return. Being forced to angle to the cruiser meant we also had to take a pretty big hit from the Malta, and even a little more from the enemy cruiser that's still alive. And we're left on 2,000 HP. No heals remaining, unfortunately, but that certainly has maximized our healing and our HP. So for a 54,000 HP light cruiser to go through 5 super heals like that and have 3 million potential damage, that's pretty good. And we might even get this Allende. The Schlieffen's on 2,000 HP. Unfortunately, we don't get any more citadels into the Allende, and maybe a few hits on the Schlieffen, and then our carrier could clutch it out. I don't know. Not to be, unfortunately, but 226 here, 4 kills is pretty nice. I think we all know how this one's going to end with the carrier again coming after us. Yeah, the AA is certainly a pain point, but 226 here feels pretty nice. 1.9k base XP is very, very good, even on a loss. And just look at that potential damage. Well, even damage received, nearly 150k damage received. This thing really is the zombie light cruiser. It is so hard to kill. It's crazy. It's a little ridiculous and a ton of fun to play. I really do have a lot of fun with this thing. As for the build here, we are looking at a pretty standard commander, concealment, superintendent. Somehow the 5 super heals are very usable. Can't always say that. Things like Salem, can't use them all because, well, the longer reload for one, but also Salem actually doesn't heal back nearly as much full pen or citadel damage, meaning those later super heals heal for a lot less. Whereas this one, it just seemed to always heal back a ton of HP. It's kind of ridiculous. Priority target and incoming fire alert, certainly redundant to take both of them. They allow you to play open water a lot easier. Knowing how many people are shooting at you when someone shoots at you from farther away makes your life very easy for dodging, but really I don't always take both of them. I just happen to have a skill left over, so just threw it in incoming fire alert. Last stand is a pretty good skill here since we are getting shot at quite a bit. And then of course survivability expert is always going to be good on a cruiser that really wants to use its HP. So that extra HP is going to help us a ton. And then yeah, main battery reload is the way to go here, I think. I don't think you need the extra range. It is usable enough. Not every game, but it is going to be usable enough, especially with how much healing this ship has. It's so hard to kill that you can be much more aggressive than a lot of other light cruisers. Concealment, of course. Propulsion mod, nice for dodging, nice for maneuvering around islands. Accuracy here, I think, is going to be pretty good as well, thanks to the AP needing to aim a little more than HE, just in general in this game. And with light AP shells like this, we do need to aim for weak spots. And that's how you're going to get the best damage out of this. Oh, look at that. Looks like we can take defensive fire. I probably will, honestly. This is a personal hydro. Notice 3 kilometers here. Not terribly long range, but still useful. But considering how often I'm targeted when I'm out alone on flanks like that, yeah, I'm gonna slot some defensive fire. It might not be worth it. Let's be honest here. There's not really a great way to counter CVs, but I think radar is probably better than spotter aircraft, although you could go spotter aircraft and the new and improved eye in the sky. This is a skill I love, and I'll probably talk about it a little more in a future video. Mainly, probably centered around Hindenburg. That seems like the obvious candidate, but having the spotter plane cooldown halved and you get 2 more of them, just so beneficial for a lot of these longer range cruisers that want to also slot DPM. That's kind of the trick there is you want DPM, but then you lack range, and this gives you range more often. And this skill used to have a massive penalty of 50% uptime on your spotter plane. And they've removed that. So a massive buff to this skill. I already liked using it on some ships, and I think it's going to be even better now. Although I might not use it on this one, but you probably could. I don't know. Maybe the radar is not as useful, but I do want to be impacting some games. I don't want to just be a damage farmer, as I do want to win some games and help avoid some blowouts. That is the key here, and radar and contesting caps can definitely help with that. So let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm so far loving this ship. I think it's going to be a really fun tier 10 to get, and maybe not too obnoxious to play against. I don't know. I haven't really seen them around yet. We'll see. But thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.